What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we put the real in reality or whatever.
Period.
Period. I'm your
Ah,
host, Pharaoh, with
ah.
our wonderful co-host, Lee. And Lee, you know what? I want to start this podcast off and say this is our first podcast since hitting 5,000 subscribers. Shout out to the kingdom. Shout out to
Period.
you
Period.
guys. Period. You bitches deserve your tens
Bitches.
today. Well, they're not that.
They're not bitches and hoes,
They're not
Pharaoh.
those.
You
They're
can't keep
not.
calling them that.
I didn't mean that. I
No
didn't
one
mean
likes to
that.
get called bitches and hoes.
It didn't come from my heart. My heart
Okay.
was saying wonderful people.
Period.
So you wonderful people. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for supporting us. We've been here for what, 2.5 years, something like that. So it feels really amazing to finally get to 5K and have the supporters supporting us, and you guys be in the kingdom and us be in the kingdom and we be in the kingdom. Oh, it just feels so
And we
good.
be in the kingdom together. Period.
And we be in the kingdom together. Period. So let's get into this motherfucking week though. Or
This has been
whatever.
a week, child.
Period. This has been a week, child. But also it's been like, it's just been a week. But also it's been a week.
I still want to say I'm loving this cast for so many different reasons. Like even like people who like, 'cause if you follow me on Twitter, I'm dunking on Angela real bad because she's a weirdo. It's no shade. That Angela girl, I'm side eyeing. I am. But I don't even hate Angela. Like I don't think Angela's a racist. I don't think Angela's a bully. I don't really stand by any of those opinions. I just feel like she's actually providing entertainment, and it's not entertainment that I like. But in general, like this cast, like I keep saying, it just continues to serve on so many different levels. Like even when it comes to like the game talk, like in comparison to BB25, I remember like Izzy, Sari, and Felicia, they kept me stressed the fuck out. And I see a lot of people on Twitter saying, they low-key missed that trio. I don't miss that trio in the slightest. I'm sorry. I love me some Sari Dion, but the way she ran last season, it kept me stressed. It kept me going. And I feel like in my mind, I don't feel like this season is boring or anything like that. So I feel like it's still an interesting season in comparison to last season, but I like how it's not as game 24/7. I like that they're having normal conversations. I like that there are days where like there may not be that much game talk and we're just seeing them kind of live in that house. I really enjoy that. I don't know. So for me, I love the pacing of this season. Like that's my favorite thing. It's like there's not game happening 24/7. And I can see how people are saying like, that's more interesting. I get it, but my interest level really isn't revolving around that necessarily. Because I feel like the gameplay in this season is still really active. I think it's just as shifty as last season, and it's a lot of players who are on even playing field. So I just like for me, I don't know, I'm really gravitating toward this season a lot. Like there's not many complaints I don't think anyone's gonna get out of me for this season. Like I'm loving it.
I honestly agree. Like I feel like with the gameplay last season, it was dynamic and super, super fast. This season, it's still really dynamic. It's just a little bit slowed down. And I feel like you said,
Y'all, Pharaoh's sick, girl.
Oh, Lord.
He went to New York and got sick to the bitch.
Like you said, I feel like this season can still be interesting regardless. And I like that it's on the level playing field. I feel like last season, one of the reasons I wasn't too excited was because the first half it was like, damn, none of y'all really gonna outdo this power structure with Sari and them. And then the second half was like, well, none of y'all gonna outdo them comps with Jag. It really left me with very little to like speculate or hope for or shifts or whatever. It just, I knew it wasn't gonna shift. And then when it shifted, I was like, well, shit, it's probably not going to shift again because it was very quick when Jag picked it up. So I'm like, I really do prefer a season where it's all new players. There isn't anyone who has like kind of this pre-idea of what strategy is, and they can come in and kind of just play normally. It's nothing crazy. And I feel like last season, of course, we had Sari, and she just was so powerful. And then the season before that, we had the whole Taylor situation, terrible. And then the season before that, we had the guy who was eating them up. This is the first season that I feel like we've kind of just got an even playing field. Anyone can pick up this game to this day. To week 2, it's still anybody's game for real. And it's like, that's just crazy to say. I feel like that makes it really interesting for me.
I honestly, I see this season as like BB24's good twin sister. Like BB26 is Glinda the Good Witch, and BB24 is Alfalfa, bitch. Okay, that is an evil bitch. I don't like BB24, and I feel like BB25 is like what it could have been if they weren't colorist and racist weirdo than that season. But
Mhm.
I feel like we said before, like it seems like a lot of the overt biases are not as present as we usually see.
Yeah, and I really like the cast. Like, I'm always a cast person. I can't get behind
Love this cast.
I can't get behind a season if I don't love the cast. And this cast I love. And I know a lot of people loved the last season's cast. I'm not gonna lie, I liked last season's cast, but I didn't love last season's cast. It was weird. It's like, okay, I kind of like everybody, but there was no one who I felt like, damn, I stand them and I love them a lot and I want them to succeed and da 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 da. And this season, it's not like I have a preference for anyone that heavy, but I think all of these people I kind of feel more energy towards rooting for them or wondering what they're going to do or where are you going to go in the game. And I think that was the issue last season. It was so almost it wasn't a lot of movement.
The first half
the
first half when Suri and the Fields power structure was running the game, no one else had a real chance to be able to win.
It just wasn't
and that's what it was. Like, we didn't get to see so many players' potential last season. I remember thinking earlier in this season, like, ooh, I would kind of like if Mimi got to play this season, if America was in this season, if Corey was in this season, because since Suri was there and she had such a hold on the game and she had such a strong knowledge of social strategy, she was able to play light years ahead of the competition. So none of them really had a chance until Corey was able to flip it. And then, like you said earlier, Jag was winning everything. So still no one had a chance. This season, the comps are equitable, which is the huge turnaround for Big Brother. And the cast is iconic and they're all on the same level. Like, we're seeing people make mistakes. We're seeing people craft a legacy for themselves. And I'm really excited to see where we're going to end up in about 70 more days when the season ends. Is it 80 something? It's still
it's 80 something days, but we're on day 12, 13.
Yeah, I think
it's probably like 70. It's probably like 70, 60 more days. Not too long. That's another thing. I really hate super long seasons. I know we're not at the end of it yet, but last season it started dragging. People are talking about Zombie Week. They're talking about Zombie Week in the house, and it's like it was such a drag. And that was another thing. And I feel like because this season is shorter, it's probably going to get more. Like you said, BB24. Like this season has a lot of dynamics and shifting. It's not too long. Everybody kind of has, in a way, a chance. You can flip the house, blah 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 blah, and you still get all that. It's just that without the racism, which was crazy. Shout out to MW. Thank you so much.
Oh, make it rain.
MW says congrats on 5,000 per. Let's go. Shout out to MW. You always in the chat, baby. I love you so much. You are the best.
Making it rain, mother. Okay. I live for that. I live for that.
You know, we don't have favorites, but you know, MW is a favorite. And also, you know what? Shout out to Tanya. Tanya,
period queen.
Shout out to you. If you're watching this, I really enjoy what you be sending me the DMs. She be talking to us, y'all. Y'all can talk to us. It's okay. Now, will we reply every single time? Not all the time. We do have other things to do, but it's just so fun, and I really appreciate the support. And like I said, this 5K just feels like a celebration of you guys. You know, just
right. The chat going up, but it's like period. Thank y'all, because we wouldn't be here without y'all.
We wouldn't be here. We literally be on the phone. We be talking about y'all. We be like, child, you see how da 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 be in the chat every time. We're like, yes, that's my sister. Like, period. So we be noticing. We be noticing for sure.
We do pay attention. We do.
Okay, Lee. Let's get into this week. I'm going to bring up the images. If you guys are a visual learner, go to YouTube. Actually, go to YouTube, period. I say it every time. We really would appreciate that. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, all of that. Follow us on Twitter as well at T Reality Kingdom for sure.
All socials at T Reality Kingdom.
All socials at T Reality Kingdom for sure as well. Boom. Now I have the images on the screen. Take it with a grain of salt as per usual with this season. These things aren't solidified. We'll end up going over kind of what it really is. But right now we'll just talk about basically the overview of this week, because we started this week off and Chelsie wins the HOH. She eventually gets to the idea of nominating Lisa, Angela, and Kenney. They were basically volunteering, maybe. So she ends up nominating them. There was some considerations about pawning certain allies, and we'll dive into that as well. After that, Kenney wins the power of veto. When he wins the power of veto and he uses it on himself, Tucker volunteered. So we had a lot of volunteering.
Everybody and
Everyone
I was
volunteered.
terrified for Chelsie, but girl, everybody volunteered.
And that's what I was saying with Chelsie. I was like, one of these Pentagon you don't have to throw. You are gonna you have social capital, so people are going to be okay with it. And we kind of saw that so immediately with Chelsie. I'm glad I said it, because with Chelsie, you see, they're wanting to volunteer for her. That's how much they like her. Like, they still are fucking with her. They're still okay with it. Even her other allies, Cam and Cedric, were like, shit, if you got to do me, do me. It's like when you have the power of the structure and the social capital, it's okay to win an HOH, even though you're good with everyone. It's still okay. You can make a move and you can stay in a good position. And she's one of the only Pentagon who I feel like have stayed in a good position this week, because some of them other ones, they doing a lot. Quinn power getting exposed. We gonna get to it. So the final nominees are Angela, Tucker, and Lisa. At this point, of course, they have the AI competition that they're gonna have to get into, and then we'll see who the final two are. But at this moment, the target is Lisa. And then it went back to Angela, and then it went to Lisa. So, Lee, how do you feel about, I guess, Chelsea's HOH so far, and then the decision of the target?
Yeah, no, I was really scared for my good sister Chelsie this week, because I'm a big person on maybe wait to win the HOH. I feel like if I was in that game, I would be a slightly passive player in that way. Like, if I have the connections, if I have the groupings, I don't really necessarily need to win, because why get blood in your hands? In this season, you have to nominate 3 people, potentially a 4th if veto gets used. So honestly, it's a lot. And I understand why you wouldn't want to win. Literally all 3 C's. Basically, the whole Pentagon talked about throwing it. So Chelsie won it. And I was like, okay, girl, Chelsie. And I watched that HOH. She talking about on the feeds that she threw that goddamn HOH. Mama, you got every single question right. How the hell you threw the goddamn HOH?
I heard that she was waiting to throw it until, I want to say, Leah
got out.
Leah, was it?
It was, she said, when Leah got out.
When Leah got out, and she wanted to throw it to T-Core, but they both ended up getting out at the same point. And she was like, I'm not going to throw it.
Which probably makes sense, because that's a big section of Chelsea's HOH week, because basically when she got into it, it seemed pretty well. She realized really quickly who she wanted to nominate. She said early on that she basically wanted to figure out who had the power, and that's when Makensy revealed to her that she had the power, and she decided, okay, I'm gonna hold that information and I'm going to keep Makensy safe this week. I really enjoyed that line of thinking from Chelsie early on, because that is a huge power. If you put her up, she's basically just going to be safe, and she could use the small influence she has over like 1 or 2 people to target you. So I really love that idea, and she basically had decided that she wanted to do Kenney and Lisa specifically. She just wasn't sure on a 3rd, and that's when all of the volunteering happened. But what I didn't like is when she kind of got into all of this pawn situation, because for the girls who don't know, she did consider pawning Cam and Cedric just so they can backdoor Lisa. That's when I got scared for Chelsie, because I'm thinking, girl, are you finna crash out? And that's when we got a lot of the inklings that she did not like Cam. She confirmed to the camera that she doesn't like Cam's relationship with Leah specifically. And there was a conversation in the HOH between Leah, Makensy, Chelsie, and Cam, where basically Leah Makensy convinced him to be a pawn this week after he denied like 5 times in a row. On the 6th time, he was like, I mean, I guess I'll do it. And people are saying it's basically because Leah offered herself up. And I think in retrospect, Chelsie wanted that conversation to happen so she could kind of show Cam in his face that this girl is offering you up to be a pawn. And he accepted it. So I feel like that just kind of separated her more from Cam. But I don't know how to feel about that, because I don't know if this whole Cam and Leah thing from Chelsea's perspective is personal a little bit.
Yeah.
Because streets are saying that she low-key had a crush on him. So I'm just trying to figure out, is this personal? Like, do you really have an issue with Leah and Cam? Or is this because Loki, you had a good nasty crush?
Yeah, and real quick on that, like I talked about it in our occasionally recap. Make sure y'all get into those. Like with the situation, I just felt like her response or her concern for it seemed so like kind of extreme in a way, because she was literally telling, like you said, telling the cameras, oh, I feel like I can't trust him no more. If he operated up to be a pawn, I mean, shoot, I might pawn him. And it's like, and she was like, even as a renom, she might just renom Leah to see how he's gonna react. And it's like, you're doing a lot of things with your current power to focus on this Cam and Leah situation. Even like she had conversations with the cameras like today, talking about some, yeah, I used to have a crush on Cam, but now I don't have a crush on Cam because, you know, it's not giving crush. And it's like, girl, this is what you're saying to the cameras. It just seems like it's kind of taking over her mind process at this moment. And there's a lot going on because there's a whole other Visionaries alliance being created. She might get added to it, but she'll be on the bottom of that. And it's like, your HOH, if your focus was more on making sure your structure was solid, then that could have been more beneficial. I feel like she's still doing really good, but a lot of her focus has been on this Cam Leah thing. Really, like even to this day, like I said, she's talking about it to the Cams, and it's like, you need to lock in, baby. Like you're doing. I just feel like it's good. It's in a way. If her concern, which I don't think it is, and that's the issue, if her concern was in the long run, Cam's gonna beat me in this game because he can win the comps and he's just the normal typical winner. If that was her concern, this would be good that he's linking up with Leah. So that's why I kind of know that's not her concern, because she doesn't want him to link up with Leah. And it's like, that would be good because he would be a big ass target, and he's becoming a big ass target because of it. So it's like, I can tell it's just a little bit more, she's annoyed that he's seems to prioritize her. And it's like, in a way, you should be okay with it because they're going to be a big ass target. And they are. By the end of this week, Cam and Leah have been talked about by a lot of people. Like, okay, they're doing a lot, and more so Cam, which is great for her. But I feel like she's still concerned about it in a way as if it's not good for her. And I don't necessarily get that.
And I'm just thinking, like, that's definitely not the big issue here. You know, like Quinn is literally helping create a whole different group, like you mentioned, and she's not on top of that at all. And that is a big issue for her, because I've mentioned before in a previous video that I feel like the house is not shaping up to be, but like as far as capable players, I feel like it's Chelsie, and you also have someone like Quinn. And it's like she could have used this week to really create her own structure and like really centered the game around her, and she didn't take the opportunity to do that. It seemed like she worried a lot about the Leah and Cam situation. I do feel like it didn't overtake her game 100%, because as an HOH, I feel like she still had great conversations throughout the game. And I also don't mind that she's separating herself from Cam, because the 3 C's would have definitely been a huge threat. I think they would have been targeted as a threat, but now she in the game is strategically removing herself away from them. You know, she's had a lot of conversations with Brooklyn about Cam and Leah. She's had conversations with Cedric about it. She's had conversations with Takor, Kimo. Like, I think that the perspective of other people in the game is that Chelsie isn't necessarily locked in with Cam as they previously thought. So that's really good for her. And I do feel like Cam is someone who would be an issue in the end game. So I didn't mind her having him. I didn't mind her having him on her radar. But my thing is, if Leah goes home, are you just gonna ignore that and Cam is no longer going to be a threat? Because I think Cam will eventually still be a threat, especially when it comes to competitions. Even though they're more equitable, you know, a lot of them have to do with speed, and he ran to that first competition. So I'm just hoping that she stays level-headed with the whole situation, because I would have rather her do certain other things with the power, and I just didn't like that her head was so involved with that.
Yeah. And what we kind of been talking about with this Quinn thing is this situation where he feels like he's on the bottom of the Pentagon. He explained to Takor and Kimo, basically in the entire alliance. He told them, all the 5 people who were in it, that he got invited in it by the core, which was Cam, Chelsie, and Cedric, and that they kind of came to him and were like, we have this thing, we want to add you, and we want to add Brooklyn. And that made him feel like he was at the bottom of it, because I mean, he kind of was in that situation, like in that essence. And that's why he's deciding to shift towards this new group that he made with Quinn, Takor, and Kimo, and they call themselves the Visionaries. And they've been working this whole week to try to figure out who else can we add to this situation. It started off, and Quinn was like, okay, Leah, because Quinn really wants this duo with Leah. It's not giving. She's someone who can do that. And I hated, not hated, but when it comes to the strategy of the situation, I did not think Quinn adding Leah was the best idea, because Leah is such an independent player and it's so obvious. And you can also tell, like, when we're talking about emotions, it's giving emotional with that too, because he's telling Leah, yeah, girl, look, I might throw my game under the bus because of you, and da 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 da. And that could be strategy, but also he's trying so hard to include her when it's not working, that it makes me feel like, okay, you actually probably are crushing on her. You kind of really just want to work with her because of that.
And I think that is really the start of it, because he kind of said later in the week that, you know, we created this song too, and we haven't really spoken. You know, he still kind of wants to work with Leah, but he's on top of, well, Cam needs to go so I can pull in Leah. And Leah, she's a very mixy girl. Like, I don't think Leah is going to just stay in this group and talk gang with you and reconvene with you. I think he wanted that duo that, okay, we're going to divide and conquer. We're going to come together at the end of the day. We're going to share these secrets. Leah does not give that. Leah, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm slightly disappointed in my sister because Leah is way more,
she worried about other stuff.
She's worried about a lot of other things. I thought she would just be way more game focused. I feel like she had a good grasp on the floater strategy in those first couple of days of the first week. You know, she was really doing good at playing both sides, and she was offering herself up as an asset. But over the course of this week here, it seems like it's mainly just the showmance of it all. You know, it started with Cam in the beginning, and now she has a crush on Tucker. Now she's worried about trying to, you know, get in with Tucker, and it's starting to rub people the wrong way. A lot of people have had conversations about how I don't really like Leah and Makensy's energy. You know, Rubina has said that, Tikor has said that, Chelsie has said that separately from them, even though she be right in their face. But even Brooklyn has had these type of conversations. So it's like Leah, I saw her as a lone wolf in this game, and now she's starting to attach herself to Makensy, and she's also starting to pull out of the game conversations as much. Like, even with this new Visionaries group, like, Leah is an option, but Leah is not the go-to option. You know, they did a lot of solidifying today, and Leah has not been spoken to at all about it because they don't know where she stands. They literally think she's in a showmance with Cam, and they themselves have not even confirmed that they're in a showmance. Right now, they're quote unquote not talking, and she's trying to get with Tucker. So it's like, I think that she is such an instinctively smart social player and floater, and I think that she just needs to stop worrying about these men and lock back in, sister, because I know they're fine. I know they're fine, or at least use them. And I feel like she's not focusing on you. She's not focusing on the game enough for me. I want her to be more game focused. And I will say, like, I think that she kind of comes around to it. But a lot of the times I see my sister talk game, it is just nonsense. It's no shade. My sister be yapping down. And so I just wish that she would lock more in, because as the game continues, things start to solidify. And if she's not secure in her spot, you know, she could easily be collateral damage.
And that was the issue with, like, the situation with Quinn, because he literally tells her, me, Kimo, and Tikor were thinking about having a thing. We would like you in it. He told her who was in it, blah, blah, blah. And she did not do a lot of work with Tikor and Kimo. She didn't encourage this. She didn't really go with it, which is why by the end of the week, she's not really considered as someone who's going to be in it. She's so worried about this girls thing. Her and Makensy have been buddy. Like, they're like best friends. And it's similar to last week. It's like, you really hitching this ride on Matt and Makensy, and now she's hitching this ride on Makensy. And it's like, she's more focused on this girls thing with her, Makensy, Chelsie, and maybe Brooklyn and Rubina. But it's like, that's not a thing that people really want. Rubina already told Tikor, look, girl, I got your back more than some of the other girls. Rubina is very much so more with the Visionary. So it's like, they're all focused. Leah and Makensy specifically are focused on this girls thing, but the other girls aren't really, I feel like, going to just go with that. So they're kind of wasting their time. So that's what they're doing. And when it comes to the Visionaries, like I said, Rubina is more involved with that. There was a conversation with Tikor and Rubina where they're actually talking about the group. And at first it was like, okay, who are we going to bring in? And Rubina was always an option. And now that Rubina is game talking with them, which was what Leah should have been doing, now she's actually included in the sense of they all agreed if they win HOH, they're going to figure out who the fifth person is, whether that's Tucker, because they're thinking about him, whoever it might be at the time. They thought about Chelsie at one time. They thought about Brooklyn at one time. So if one of them four win HOH, they're ready to solidify this and make this the thing of the season. Like,
I've heard also that Joseph is an option. So the main core of this would be Rubina, Tikor, Kimo, Quinn. And then, of course, the add-ons would be Tucker, maybe Joseph, maybe Chelsie, maybe Brooklyn, even maybe Leah. I really like that they're thinking about securing something. I think that was my issue with a lot of people in the season, especially like this week so far. Like, usually in this new era, maybe week one, nothing is solidified because the first HOH is cracked, but week two usually gets it done. And Chelsie, I thought she would be someone who would get that done, and she hasn't. Now, to be fair, I do feel like this is a house where it's going to continue to shift. Like, even if this new alliance core is created, I do think that there's going to be more shifting, because if Chelsie is in it, they're still going to keep their relationship with Chelsie. They're still going to keep a relationship kind of with Cedric and Cam. You know, there is still a collective group. There's still that barbershop group. There's a lot of people playing in each other's faces, and no one is going to stand up and be like, I'm not playing in your face. Like, no one is choosing a side to die on. And I feel like that's going to continue to be a thing, especially with these equitable comps. I feel like different people will continue to win. But in general, I'm loving this alliance, girl. I am living for it. It's some of my favorite people in the cast. I kind of hope Chelsie get into it, but I feel like even then Chelsie would be protected by it because everyone in the alliance likes Chelsie, and they know that she protected them. They know that she protected them this week. So I feel like a lot of the people I'm rocking with this season is going to be good because of this new group. So I'm seated for it.
I agree. It's a really good group. They really just need to solidify it next week, and it'll be interesting to see who they add to it, because whoever that fifth person is, if they want like 5, we'll see how really they can come through. And like, if it's Joseph is someone who is like, he could be doing better, but he's not in anything. If they add him to it, I feel like that's someone who could pick up pieces. Or even Chelsie, it's like, low-key, y'all probably should be leaving Chelsie out of it, but they're considering bringing her in. And it's like, if she gets in it, she has so much other things, so many more other allies. And it's like, I think that was the issue with Quinn trying to create this group, is that Quinn isn't necessarily at the center of this group. He went from the bottom of a group to the bottom. And at first I was like, okay, it's T-Core and Kimo, he's third. And now at this point, I'm like, it's T-Core, Kimo, and probably Rubina, because T-Core has a great relationship with Rubina, and she has a great relationship with Kimo. And now it just leaves you. Now you're really at the bottom, and you're so worried about Leah, and your power is getting exposed. And you didn't tell your allies about it. So it's like Quinn went from the bottom to the bottom. And I don't, and I understood his thought process, because who wants to be at the bottom of the alliance? I'm just not sure that he wasn't capable of creating a structure centered around him. He went to 2 people who were already working together, and they added a third who likes them more than him. So it's like, you tried to get Leah in it, she didn't even do what she needed to do, because you're getting random people in a way. And that's your issue. You like Leah. Leah didn't say she likes Kimo and T-Core. T-Core and Kimo didn't say they want to work with Leah. You like Leah.
Well, they have all discussed those things.
They've discussed working together, but when it comes to the natural path of hooping,
I'm just saying Lisa has said that she does like T-Core and Kimo. Like, when they've spoken about creating their group at the beginning of the week, she said, I like T-Core, I like Kimo. So those things have been said.
Yeah,
they haven't been expanded on.
What I'm trying to say is, when you're analyzing who is a group of people who can work together, you're supposed to be analyzing who they're gravitating towards. And prior to him having the combo with Leah, nothing was giving she was gravitating towards them. It was giving Makensy and Matt, and then even Chelsie and some of the girls. So based on, after Quinn suggested it, yes, she agreed she does like them, she'd be down to work with them. But I'm just saying, when he's thinking in his mind, who should I get together? At the time, I'm not sure why he thought he should get T-Core and Kimo with Leah, because those weren't people who were naturally gravitating towards. Leah has been with Makensy all damn week. So it's like, you didn't even include that. So that's kind of what I was referencing. Shout out to Sky Corbin. Sky Corbin says, how about to take congrats on 5K? Thank you. Y'all got me into Survivor. That's crazy.
Oh,
that is crazy. And you stay entertained as fuck. Manifest a Pharaoh, get that trapped with. Period. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I definitely see what you're saying. I think Quinn's issue is that he spreads himself too thin. I think he still is a great player because everyone wants to work with him. Everyone who's trying to build a structure, they include Quinn in it. Like, there was a random conversation with Makensy, Leah, and they mentioned maybe Quinn is someone they could pull in. Like, everyone wants to work with Quinn in some way. I think every faction of the house has a person kind of protecting him, and I think that he is trying to maintain that. But it's like when you're juggling. He's juggling, baby. He's dropping his balls. It's a lot of balls in the air at the same time, and they falling quick. And I think that, especially with this impending power thing, it's like, it's really starting to stress him out, because he's trying to create a group, but he's also trying to figure out, do I win HOH to create that group? If I win HOH, do I use my power? And now you have Angela walking around trying to expose the power. Like, at this point, I feel like Quinn's biggest downfall potentially as a player is going to be that damn power, because he hasn't told his allies. Once it gets out, they're probably gonna not trust him, because, like I said, Angela is walking around snitching on him. She literally had a conversation. It was a group of people in the backyard, and Angela's like, y'all, I know what the power does. The power can trump the HOH, and I'm telling you, read between the lines. I know the power. And then she told Tucker to his face, she told Tucker, I know Quinn has the power. I know what it does. And Tucker was like, well, no, And she was
Tucker
like,
did not believe her.
She was like,
And
well, no, I know. And Tucker was like, well, no, it's probably Lisa. And it probably does this. Like, completely. So her credibility is nothing. However, if and when the power gets used, it confirms everything she was saying. And it confirms that it is Quinn's power. So I feel like there's a lot surrounding that. But in general, I think he's doing good by wanting to solidify a group, but in general, he cannot let these other relationships falter because that was going to fuck him up. Like, and people are so interconnected in this house. Like, even if Chelsie isn't in an alliance, Chelsie has connections to Core, Kimo, and Rubina. Same with Brooklyn if she's not in it. Kind of same with Cedric and Cam if they're not in it. Like, Joseph, if he's not in it, he has connections with those people. So it's like he needs to lock in with people who are going to basically choose him. And right now, I feel like some will, but when we get down to the wire, are they going to do that? I'm also scared about his passiveness as a player. Like, he is aligned with everyone. Even this week, he said, maybe I should make an alliance with Kenney just so I can be aligned with everybody in the house. And it's like, yeah, it sounds great on paper, but at some point, you do have to win HOH. You have to start building your resume. So I'm just thinking, like, he has so many variables that are going to come crashing to him very soon. And I don't know if he's going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I just feel like it's way too much he's trying to do. I feel like he's been trying to do things too soon. When you're on the bottom of the alliance, it's important to either get to the top of it or to flip it. But he even said this week, he was like, well, shit, actually, the Pentagon is a different dynamic than I thought it was one day ago when I exposed it, because Chelsie doesn't like Cam, and Brooklyn and Chelsie, Brooklyn's more with me, and none of them are really that close to Cedric. And it's like, that was my exact point when I was like, you don't have to flip on this alliance because it's only 5 people, and that you didn't give them any time to really, you didn't put any work into truly understanding the dynamic. It was literally the day after you flipped on it, the same day you flipped on them and told about them, Chelsie was damn near dragging Cam to most of the house. And it's like, you really could have, I think he's just moving too fast, and that is also making him spread himself
too much information.
Way too much info.
Like, I was confused when he told Angela in the first place that he had the power. That doesn't make any sense to me. I like that he told Kimo. He's built a great relationship with Kimo, but Kimo, he has other options. And I think that's kind of what Quinn's issue is. It's just a lot of people have a lot of options. And I could easily see him kind of being the secondary option, especially if this power gets exposed and people have less trust for him.
And they have so many options because he's giving them power. Him telling Angela about his power gave her power this week when she shouldn't have had it. Him telling T-Core and Kimo about this entire alliance, like I said on the occasional recap, they didn't do what he did and panicked and tried to really shift and when they found out about alliance. They put that shit in their pocket and they're moving forward. So he's telling people about information, and they're using the information better than he is. So at this point, I kind of feel like T-Core and Kimo are in potentially a longer, what's it called, their game path, I see a longevity to it more than his, because they're holding information. He's telling everyone everything. He told Leah he's working with Kimo and T-Core, and now she's not going to be in the alliance, so that's something she's going to know this entire time. He also mentioned a final 2, because she was like, oh, are we the only final 2 you have? And he was like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got one with Kimo too. Now she knows that for no reason. He told Angela about her power, she knows that for no reason. He told them about the Pentagon, they know that for no reason. And then he's telling a lot of information, but also I feel like as soon as Angela started talking about his power and he knew she was trying to expose him, he should have made sure to tell his allies, okay, I have this power, because he could mitigate the backlash if he owns up to it, to at least his allies, I feel. Because I could see T-Core, I don't know, but if I was T-Core and he didn't tell me this whole time, and then on eviction day, she exposes it and I find out it's true, I would be like, you're supposed to be in alliance with me and you're exposing your other alliance and you didn't tell me about this. It just makes him see shady. Honestly, I was thinking when he exposed that entire alliance to me, I would have been like, well, that's fake as fuck. I already would have thought Quinn was a little shady. So that on top of the thing you didn't tell me about, but you're telling Angela, it's like, how are you telling Angela this, but I'm in your final alliance and you're not telling me this? It doesn't make sense. He needs to really choose correctly when to give information and when not to. I feel like he's doing it all wrong with that. But
and I think it's because he wants to put his hands in so many of these pots. Like, he even now has a final 2 with Cedric, and I will say Cedric is the one who made that, initiated that. But it's like, now Quinn is in it, and it's like, well, Quinn, are you going to actually put work in this? You know what I mean? Or are you just going to allow Cedric to do whatever he wants? So it's like, because he's working with everyone, he's trying to give his access to everyone, and it's not it's not working that well. And I just feel like once he chooses a side and whatever happens with his power happens, that could really be the time where he gets targeted. And I'm kind of scared for him on that front because, yeah, like I said, like I think this power is the worst thing ever. At this point, I did see someone in the chat say he should probably let it expire. I kind of agree with that. I think he should just let it go. Let it go. Keep denying because no one believes Angela. No one really believes Angela. Let it expire and go from there because I think he can continue to play this game of juggling everybody for a while, you know, but he has to lock in at some point. Like a good thing about that rat floater strategy, to be a successful rat floater, you have to lock in at some point and create an alliance, create a group, or just, you know, solidify yourself in a way that you're the chosen person.
Yeah,
and I feel like we see that with June, we've seen that with an Andy before, and I'm scared, like, will Quinn be the right balance of a player to be able to do that, or is he going to be too scared? Because at this point, if he doesn't win the power, he's going to win the HOH and nominate who at this point?
Yeah,
you know. So I feel like, yeah, girl. That
and from what I'm seeing, when it comes to can he do it, currently what I'm seeing is giving no. But it's interesting because this season is so different. Every season is different. And I feel like this could be a season where he is able to do it. Or he could learn and be like, okay, let me actually lock in. So I'm not counting him out at all. It'll just be interesting. And that's why we were saying, like, this is a good season, y'all. Like, it's gonna be interesting because he's not in this OP position. He's just doing kind of a lot. But it's also like you could easily get caught up. So it's like it's not a set in stone situation.
But, you know who is winning, girl?
Tikor.
The Tikor stands.
I feel like that's my mama.
And that's why I still low-key want that power to be used. Because I want him to take a big shot. I want him to take a big shot. I want him to take out a big power player to really open up this game. Because I feel like that's where Tikor is gonna shine, mama. Like
my issue is who is a power player at this point? Because everyone wants Cam out. No one really fucks with Cedric. It would probably be Chelsie. And it's like he's not doing that.
It's like it's still like that presence of a big player. It's like even if it is Cam, if it is Cedric, that's a huge player in this game. Okay, people are worried about Angela, Lisa, Kenney, Makensy. Anyone out of those 4 people going home is a gag. Literally, because the entire house are against those 4 people, kind of. So I just love this position for Tikor so much. She went to work to literally today on the feeds in solidifying this group. They spoke about it yesterday. They didn't really solidify it. And today, she had conversations with Rubina about it. She had conversations with Tucker about it. She's really trying to lock this group in. And she also still has connections to the 3 C's. They're trusting her. They're protecting her. She also has connections to this girls' alliance. Leah, Brooklyn, Makensy, Rubina, Chelsie. They all love Tikor. They want to protect her. Tucker has a good relationship with her. The only person who's not really vibing with her, and she's not vibing with him, is Kenney. And at this point, even if Kenney put her up, which I don't think he would, but even if Kenney put her up, she's not going home. Tikor, I see a path for her. I really, really do. She is making herself available in this game. People feel like she's a great number. They think that she's smart. They think that she is just nice to be around. Like, and people in this game of Big Brother, they like people who are like that. Like, Tikor is just a good house guest. The people feel like they can divulge information to her. They feel like they can trust her. And I feel like if she continues to play this game, she's going to be dangerous. Like, I think Tikor she could be a legendary status in this game because the under the radar game is so T. And I feel like she's someone who can still gain respect because they do respect her. They don't disrespect Tikor in this house. And I feel like what I love about her game is that people come into Big Brother and I feel like they want to play like this all the time. And they do it wrong. Like, they don't talk to people. They sit in their room all damn day. They don't do damn near anything. People try to say Tikor isn't doing anything, but if you're actually watching feeds, you see Tikor is talking to everybody and their mama all damn day. Every time I look at the feeds, Tikor is in a different group. Tell me I'm wrong. Tikor is talking to Makensy at one point. She's talking to Brooklyn here. She's talking to Rubina there. She's talking to Joseph and Quinn here. She is having active conversations with everyone, being in their circle. So, girl, I feel like we're doing a rating already.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I'm gonna get into Tikor with the rating. You got to
give my mama because I feel like it's a really big thing in the game right now. This group that she's trying to solidify, and I feel like it's only going to work for her because she's able to play all of the sides as well. And no one sees it. Everyone underestimates her. And she's going to get underestimated all the way to final 2 and win this motherfucking game.
Yeah, Lee's feeling. Y'all gonna see in my rating. Child.
I think she will, Brown Charlie. Brown Charlie said, I hope T-Core can have a killer instinct. I think she will, because she
she will,
knows about the Pentagon, and she's still playing in Cam, Cedric, and Chelsie face like she didn't know. Because there hasn't been a Black alliance. Let's be clear, there has not been any Black alliance, but of course, people connect on similar backgrounds. So there has been like that kind of inkling of, okay, we Black, we see each other, right? She now knows that they basically have a separate group and create the Pentagon, and she hasn't reacted differently at all. They would not know that she knows this information, and she knows all of it. So I feel like she low-key will have that cutthroat energy because she wants to win, and she's playing, mama.
So leading into basically this eviction episode, Angela has basically promised if she feels like she's the one going home, she's gonna expose this power. She's gonna tell y'all who it is, and she's gonna move forward for that. And she's kind of saying in front of Quinn's face, she's like, but if I stay, I probably won't say the person just yet. So I better stay, because I probably won't say the person. So it's giving look out for that on eviction night. Of course, the AI arena, and the target is mainly Lisa, but because if the Angela, we don't really know, but it's mainly Lisa. So that's what we're seeing going into this episode, and that's kind of mostly the week. We can really get into the rating.
Well, the last thing I was going to bring up, we kind of spoke about it in the last one, but the whole Angela thing, because the reason why Angela is so gung-ho about exposing Quinn is because she feels like she's going home. And I'm assuming she feels like she's going home because this week there was a situation, if you haven't gotten into it, we'll get into it right now. There was a situation where the 4 Blacks, T-Core, Cam, Cedric, and Chelsie was all chilling by the hammock. And they weren't talking game. They were just having a conversation. And Angela goes to Quinn and says, that right there, that's the crew. That's the crew right there. And he looks outside and he's like, okay, random. He tells Chelsie. He also tells T-Core. Chelsie tells Angela what was said. Angela approached Quinn about it. There was a lot of feed outages because of it. Basically, anytime it's brought up, the feed's cut. Damn near anytime
Angela name get brought up. Yeah.
And that's another reason why I'm like, girl, Angela can go because she's wasting my time and she's a weirdo. She can go. But she feels like she's going home because basically the vote did flip on her that day when it happened. And I'm assuming there were a lot of conversations and a few blow-ups that made her think that. But that was just an interesting conversation because it's the big question of, do we think that she was saying what we think she's saying, that there was an all-Black alliance, or was she just calling out the group that she wanted to work with? Because the excuse that she used was that, no, I was saying that's the crew I wanted to work with. And my thing is, that doesn't even make any sense to me. Why would you randomly say to somebody, that's the crew right there, indicating that's the crew I want to work with?
I feel like that's
more sense that she was saying they're working together because she literally mentioned that the 3 C's were working together at one point. So it makes more sense that she was saying all 4 of them are also working together.
I agree. I feel like the I wanted to work with them is a full lie, but I'm also not. I feel like I can't necessarily depict whether or not she was saying they're all Black because so they're working together, because she's so cracked that she said everybody's all working together. And I kind of said this on the last one. It's like she thought Joseph and Quinn, who fucking didn't like Matt at all, were kind of working with Matt, and they were pitching the collective to her because of that. That's the whole reason the collective doesn't exist. It's because she was so cracked thinking they're working together. And then, like you said, she already clocked the 3 C's talking game in the HOH room for an hour, and then she thought they were working together, and then she saw them talking outside. She thought they were working together. So part of me is just like, she's just insane. And
but I don't like
hate to put that on her,
lie though, because she said, like, you're right. You're completely right. She has done this several times throughout the season. Oh, they're working together. They're doing this. They're doing that. So why would this not be any different? So why, when you get called out by it, it's
because she got a caught. She's like, I'm not going to admit to
work with. I get it,
but she hasn't gotten caught before.
Last now she was trying to act like Quinn is defaming her character, and she just cannot live in a house with someone like that. And I just got to expose this power. I don't like. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm not entertained by Angela. I'm not. I'm really not. For me, that's not entertaining for me at all. It's really not. I'd rather watch a conversation than them talking about real world shit than see Angela be cracked, because I just don't find chaos that entertaining. Like, I'm not gonna lie, she's kind of funny. She's slightly funny sometimes, but her personality just rubs me the wrong way. It does.
Yeah, it's icky. It definitely just gives Karen like she would complain at customer service about $1, like something crazy, like something.
He didn't smile at me.
I definitely get that energy, and that's why I feel like just I agree with that. Like, I feel like the energy with her is off. For me, I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna have to see this girl outside of the game, in the game. Cause the game, expose Quinn power. Actually,
and that's what I do need. I am here for that. Expose the power because I want to
do
see
that
that
actually, and move forward, and then go home. Thank you. So yeah, boom. We could definitely get into these ratings. If you're new to this, on the top we have the previous week. We rated with America last week. The averages are at the bottom, so you can see basically the average we gave them last week and the score we gave them last week. This week we are going to be doing on bottom, and we're going to be rating the players this week. Oh, Matt already went home, so let me put him last, and we will be giving Matt an over. Oh my god.
Josh 23. This is the first time I'm agreeing with you on something, Josh.
What Josh 23 say?
Josh said, I would rather see Lisa stay. Yep. Lisa for AI Arena. Lisa, because Josh be saying some crazy shit. Josh be standing the Friendship Alliance and shit.
Oh, Lord.
But no, I definitely agree with that. Because I like Lisa. I kind of like Lisa. And like I said, Angela's annoying the fuck out of me. She can go.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
I want Lisa to win AI Arena because if that happens, Angela definitely
Angela's going home.
I
honestly don't care for any of the nominees, including Tucker. I don't care for Kenney. I don't care for Angela. I don't care for Tucker. I don't care for Lisa. What's positive about this season versus others is I don't hate them. I don't have any negative energy towards them. I just don't care. They can all go home. Kenney want to quit. Please do.
And honestly, why is Kenney not leaving this week? That's the person who should be motherfucking.
Won the veto, but don't even want to be here. Why the fuck did you win the veto?
Kenney literally said, like, oh, next week I'm probably just gonna tell him to put me up again. You know, I'd rather fight for my own safety. Send this man home. He's gonna get all the way to jury just because he don't want to
play. What do you give him, Matt, overall?
Matt, overall, I think I'm just gonna settle on a 3 for Matt. He's someone in this game where in a different environment he could have really been in the majority alliance and done something, but I do feel like because he's not a fan and the type of personality he has, he was always going to be a flame out. Like it's reminding me of like Paulie
in
BB18. Exactly. Like he has an idea, he knows an alliance that he wants to work with, but he's gonna just go too far. And he really had not a lot of self-awareness in this house, which is why he didn't realize that he was rubbing people the wrong way. So I think potential, just because of his natural attributes, it's there. But, you know, he went home first for a reason.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. It was given Paulie. It was given, even if he got in the season where his privilege helped him, he still would have lost because he would have gave dictator. He would have gave overbearing. He would have gave y'all are all in my storage room, HOH room, and I'm just, you know, talking at everybody. And it's like his charisma didn't really show in the house. No one really was wooed by him too much, I feel. And I don't think he would have made it far in a lot of seasons. I feel like if he would have gotten the chance to be in the majority alliance, he would have just went home, honestly. So I don't feel too good about him. I'm gonna just do the 2.5.
Dang, 2.5.
You gave him a 3. But yeah. Honestly, I wanted to give him a 2. I don't even know why I'm giving a 0.5. But hey, you know what? I think I'm giving him like points because I know his archetype usually could do but good. If he was like Angela's archetype, I probably would have given him a 0. Honestly, like I think I am changing my thought process of him because of his archetype, which isn't amazing, but
yeah,
2.5.
I mean, but it's also based off of the year. I mean, they just changed competitions this year.
Yeah,
if we had 25 comps, he probably would have won AI Arena, veto, HOH,
and
any of the 3.
Yeah, so that's what it was. Kenney, last week I gave him a 0. I'm keeping him at the 0. He is not in anything in the game. No one cares for him as an ally. They've considered maybe bringing him in. That would always just be as the person who's going to go home first. He doesn't want to be here, so why would I give him a score? Lee?
Who?
All right. Next we have Makensy. How do you feel about Makensy?
Makensy, I don't hate Makensy at all. I don't love Makensy either, but I like her presence in the house. It's an interesting presence. But as far as the game, she's out of it. I mean, she's still trying to stick with this barbershop thing. The barbershop thing is not real. They all voted her man
saying
out.
The barbershop. I'm like, what do you keep saying?
They all voted her man out. Didn't even tell her. And I like that. It's like, you know, you really see people's survival instincts in situations like this. And it's like, okay, she's going to go back to the majority group that just turned on her because she has nowhere else to go. But I hate that she didn't try to lock in more. She didn't really try to create any relationships out of what she already has. What I do like is that she did expose her power in a way to keep her safe. And Chelsie did kind of urge that a little bit, but she kind of had the forethought to do it. And it did help her stay safe this week. You know, she did good on making Chelsie feel like she can be used because she has this power. But other than that, it really doesn't go much past that. It really doesn't. Like, she's still an easy option as a target, and she's always going to be that option. But she still has a week of safety. She has at least 1 week of safety, at least until week 4. So I'll say it's a 3 overall, but I just think she's going to go home eventually.
Yeah, Justin Collins said it best in the chat. He said after her power's up, she's definitely the next target. I really think so because the power ends on week 4, and by then a lot of these duds will probably, honestly, it's very likely because a lot of people, even the new Visionaries Alliance, they don't want to target the Pentagon. They still want to target Angela because she's exposing Quinn. They still want to target people like Makensy, but they can't at this moment. They still will nom Kenney because Kenney doesn't like T-Core. So it's like all of these players who aren't in this, it's still going to be the same thing. I think next week Angela is probably could easily go. Kenney could easily go. Lisa could easily go. So it's like it really just leaves after that. Makensy, you're next, and no one is in an alliance with you. Yeah. No one really prioritizes you, and she's not good at building it. She's trying with this girls thing, but it's not sticking. Like Rubina's already ready to not work with them, and it's like y'all are in the. They're just left out of the power structure for real. So I'm gonna just give it a 2.5. It was good what she did with the power, exposing it to save her. To save herself, that was good. But like you said, Chelsie kind of had to get that out of her. So that's that.
It was really just a lack of self-awareness that she and Matt had that really hurt both of their game.
Yeah, 100%. Next we have Lisa. Honestly, like Makensy, but worse. Like you're just all of these bottom 4 players are super similar. They are not included in anything. No one is protecting them. They don't have many allies. They're not involved in the game, and they're not really good at the game. And they're not good at getting people on their side. Lisa, one connection she had, the one person who liked her was T-Core, and then she pitched T-Core as a possible name to go on the block. And it's like, why are you saying T-Core's name? That's the one person who fucks with you.
She said to Tucker that I believe T-Core may have the power.
Oh, she's throwing T-Core out about the power. Either way.
Why are you saying my girl name?
Mama's name? And T-Core found out about that because Kimo heard and Kimo told T-Core. And it's like, okay, so Lisa, the one person who you could have had a bond with, really the two, T-Core and Kimo, you've now dismissed that because you're throwing their name out. And it's like, that's the issue with Lisa. She's not really a great player. And now Angela is damn near, she's not helping Lisa's cause because Lisa's so involved in this Angela thing. It's like there's nothing we could do with Lisa. She's arguing with Angela every day, and it's like she didn't do good with that situation either, because when she got known by Angela, she really took that personally. She put a lot of energy. She just does a lot of things that aren't helping her game. I gave her a 2.5 last week. I'm gonna give her a 2 this week, even though I think she could win the AI arena. Issue is if she doesn't, she is going home. Like they've at this moment said she's better at comp, so she gotta go.
Period. Yeah, they just don't like Lisa. This is she's one of the people in the up season of Big Brother where the people just don't like her. They don't gravitate towards her for whatever reason. And there's not much that she can do about it. I don't like how Angela is treating her. Do I go as far as call Angela a bully? Not necessarily. I don't think Angela's necessarily a bully. I just think the energy is weird. Now, some people say it's warranted because Lisa did say, I can't fuck with you professionally, inside or outside of the game. But I feel like that's after Angela nominated her, didn't even tell her, and then did hella weird shit after. So it's like, girl, I'm not going to be cordial with a weirdo either, Mm-hmm. But it's
because if I was Angela, what I did, at least to Lisa, because Angela was weird about Matt's personal life, but what I did to Lisa was within the game. And to me, Lisa came to me talking about shit outside of the game. Girl, fuck you from here on out. So I get Angela's perspective, but also via Lisa's perspective, you're a weirdo. You put me up for no reason. I thought we had a good bond, and you started treating me weird as fuck regardless after you put me up. So I see both sides like Chanel, but also Angela's just weird in general. So I feel like if I was Lisa, I would just not fuck with her either. Right? I don't know. But what you think about Lisa?
I mean, yeah, I'm going to go with the 2 with Lisa as well. Miss Brown Sugar said in the chat, why did Lisa just start asking about being left out of last
She was lying about it this whole time, which was also stupid. Bitch, I mean, ooh, girl, everybody already know.
Everyone knows that you did it. So it's like,
girl, what are you
but also it's just like, she does this a lot where it's like she presses people for information. And it's like, girl, you're not in a position to press people about anything. Like, you really cannot do that. And it's like similar to a lot of people in this bottom, the self-awareness is not there at all.
Yeah. Next we have Angela. Lee, how you feeling about Angela?
Um,
We kind of talked a lot about Angela because she's just so involved.
we did. I'm gonna just give Angela the 2. The fact that she thinks she's going home and she's doing things to basically put the target on her more is insane. Angela is not someone that should be targeted in the slightest in this season. Even though she had a terrible first week, she still should be able to be in a position to where no one's really looking at her, and she still is. And it's because of her. She's always doing something that is just rubbing people the wrong way, and it's like she can't help herself. And I get it. She's entertaining. She's here to give great TV, but giving great TV is never going to make you a good game player, And I think what's so annoying is that she's doing these things because she feels like that's what needs to be done. She has these conversations with herself and she's like, "Oh, they think that I'm the villain, so let me just be the villain." Like it's giving Paul Jackson and BB Can. It's like she wants to be this bad person because she feels like people already see her as that, and so she's just gonna go balls to the wall and say fuck it. And it's like you don't have to do that. It's week 2. Just don't piss people off. Don't be weird towards people. And then she becomes weird. And then when no one want to talk to her weird ass, she sulks and cries in the bathroom and to herself and say how no one wants to talk to her and da 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 da. And then she reacts even more because she's put herself in this emotional state. It's just I don't like the constant cycle of insanity coming from Angela at all, because at the end of the day, it's just not smart for her game. Because like I said, no one should be targeting her, and she's on everyone's list because of how cracked she is. Like every ally that she has in the game, she eventually calls them a liar and says she doesn't want to work with them anymore. And it's like, girl, you can't keep doing this the entire time and think you're gonna stay. Like she's definitely gonna go out pre-jury, and it's because of her own doing. So honestly, shit, 1.5.
Yeah, I'm giving her the 0.5.
Oh,
it's a no for me. There's nothing that she's done that is good in this game. She's constantly, like you said, she's just very paranoid. Like she was in the Majority Alliance week 1 when they invited her to Collective, and she basically threw it in their face when she was going off on Matt because she was so paranoid and felt like it was a ploy. She's been paranoid this entire week. She's argued with Lisa. She's argued with Kenney. She's argued with Makensy. She's argued with Tucker. She's argued with Chelsie. Even had to get in her ass. Like you're constantly debating and arguing people about stuff that doesn't matter. You shouldn't be a target, and you're one of the main targets. The vote flipped on you because of how extra you're being. Oh, she argued with Quinn. I didn't even put him on the list. She's argued with 90% of the house,
and that's the whole house.
And that's going to continue to happen throughout the season. She's never winning this game. She's never winning this game. Her approach has been so abrasive and it's so distasteful, and people are starting to not even appreciate her as a people aren't even appreciating her as a person, let alone a player, other than Lisa. Like there were conversations with Rubina and them, they were like, honestly, the way she's talking to Lisa is crazy and weird, and why is she acting like this? Like people in the house are like, ew. Like they're disgusted by her. They're never giving her a vote. She's never gonna make it.
People keep saying a grown woman,
a grown woman, like a grown woman. Why is a grown woman? So it's like you're very disliked. No one really likes you. You're not playing good. You're probably gonna go home soon. It should be a 0. Why am I giving her 0.5? I don't know. I'm giving her the 0. Next. Oh, I couldn't think of a reason why.
Willie Lloyd, is this your grandma? I feel like Willie Lloyd.
No, because earlier Willie Lloyd was like, Lisa should be like a 4. Willie Lloyd in the chat really eating it up.
Willie Lloyd defending their grandma.
Shout out to Willie Lloyd for giving his draft opinions. I love that. Did she argue with T-Core? That's the thing. In the bathroom, we didn't see that conversation because they couldn't feed. They couldn't feed because everything she says is problematic. It's just too much. It's just too much. 0. Next is Kimo. Now, this is a big ass.
On up.
This is a big ass jump. Kimo, last week I gave him a 3, and that was mostly because his position was bad. He was on the block, but he won the AI arena first of all. Shout out to that. And then this week he's been included in the new structure that's kind of forming. Quinn has given him a lot of information. Kimo has like the most information in the game because he's the only other person other than Angela who knows for a fact Quinn has the power. And he now knows about the Pentagon, which is the other alliance that exists, and he's in the Visionaries, which is the new alliance that's being created. He is the one who has a final 2 with Quinn, and he has a final 2 idea with T-Core, so he's really well positioned within the alliance as well, and that's really good. They're adding Rubina, who really likes him. He's had a lot of great conversations with like Chelsie and stuff. His position is just really phenomenal, really good position, and I think he's so low key that he's just not going to be targeted. He just doesn't give target. He really doesn't. So I think he's definitely getting deep in this game, and he's an actual fan. So I feel like he's holding back, not holding back, but I do feel like there could be more that we could see for him later on in the game as well. And I'm gonna be excited for that for sure. I'm gonna give Kimo at this point really amazing position, honestly. I'm gonna give him a 7. I'm gonna give him a 7.
Yeah, and then Asta said in the chat too, Kimo knows about both powers. I think he's the only person in the game that knows about both powers.
Yep.
Like, as far as like you said, getting information, he has a lot of good information. And similar to what you said too, I don't think he's gonna be a target. People just like him. And in this game of Big Brother, especially a season like this where they're not necessarily, you know, Dan and Tiffany level of masterminds, they're worried about who they like and who they don't like. And Kimo is very likable, and he is a super fan. So I feel like once we get to those in-game decisions, he's going to be able to make the right decisions. I also feel like with these equitable comps, he's someone who can do really well at them. Like he beasted the AI arena. I really love watching him in that performance. So I see good things for Kimo. I basically see the same things for him as I'd see for T-Core. They're both in a position where it's like they're so under the radar and underestimated that people are not going to touch them, but people like them so much that they're also just not going to touch them. So I can see them in this end game. They can win a few comps here and there, and if they have each other's back, they can be the whole motherfucking final 2 in this bitch. And girl, when I tell you, that would be a gang and a half. What I don't like about Kimo's game as opposed to someone like T-Core, I feel like T-Core is very, very socially active. I still feel like Kimo could be a little bit better with the social activeness. However, it's way better than last week. I really feel like last week it was the slop. Because America mentioned it may be the slop. I think it was the slop because he has done a complete 180. It's just he still isn't, in my opinion, necessarily creating those individual connections similar to T-Core. Like if he was kind of on the same level of T-Core as like popping into every conversation, they'd be unstoppable. You know, so for me, I'm gonna go with the 6.5 on Kimo. I agree with everything you're saying. It's just I want to see a little bit more from him on that level.
You definitely spill with that. Next is Rubina. How you feel about Rubina? She's so interesting.
I like Rubina. She's a really interesting player. And I was saying in the beginning of this week, she's so interesting because she plays almost like she's in the majority alliance. She plays like she's in the Pentagon or that she is on the collective side. But she's not really on that side. Like as far as the Matt vote, Matt thought Rubina was keeping him. He was shocked that Rubina cut him. And it's because Rubina was playing in his face all week. But what's interesting about Rubina is that she didn't have the Pentagon or the collective telling her we're voting out Matt. She had like 1 or 2 people and she went with that decision because that's what she wanted to do. It's like she's just based off her own morals in the game is like aligning with other people are wanting, but she's not aligning in an alliance with them. But I do like that this new group is forming that she is in talks of being in. You know, I do like that she went to T-Core and told her, you know, I do like you more than those other girls. I would choose you over them. I like that she is just getting more involved with the strategic side of the game. Because she even mentioned herself that, you know, she barely knows what she's doing. She's not really a fan. So she's kind of picking up the game as it goes along. And she's someone else who I think is in a similar position to Kimo and T-Core, where people are not going to look at her at all. Like she's not necessarily in too many solidified things, but I don't think she necessarily has to be, especially if the game stays so fluid. My fear is that because she isn't a fan, though, there may be some issues with her in this end game. She may be slow to pick up things, but she seems like she's on the right path. People like her. She's now getting included in alliances, and no one is mentioning her name as a target at all. So for me, I'm gonna go with the 6 for Rubina.
Yep, I agree with the 6. And I agree with what a lot you said. I think like she said, she was saying how she low-key wishes she watched a little bit more seasons because she don't know what she's doing. But she's one of those players where it's like, if she was a fan, she probably would be doing amazing because her natural instinct is so good. She's very good at blending in the background, not being a threat, but also staying in good with everyone. So I just agree with what a lot you said. Like honestly, everything. I love her position. I love that she's getting added to this alliance. And she's like, they've been considering a lot of people, but she's one of the I feel like primary consideration. She's definitely one who, if they win the next HOH, she's going to be in it, and they're just going to figure out who else. And I think that's going to be really, really good for her, especially if they win the comp. And shit, she might win the HOH. And then it's like, y'all can definitely solidify around your HOH, and that'll be interesting as well. So I really do like her position a lot. And she also has relationships like outside of that group, like her and Tucker have this really good thing. Makensy and the girls really do trust her, and they really like her in this alliance. She's so good on all corners of the game, really. So definitely a 6. It just, the only thing is she's not super, I feel like, active. Like she doesn't necessarily know the game, so she's kind of just learning. Next we have Tucker. He's an interesting one too. I gave him a 5 last week. I'm actually just gonna keep him at the 5, mainly because he volunteered as a pawn, and it's like,
I forgot he did that.
Weird stuff.
He's not going home. There's no shade.
He's not going home. He's in a very good position. A lot of people want to include him in the things. A lot of people love him. It's like, it's weird. It's like people are like, I love him. People have crushes on him. He has enamored to this house.
Because a lot of people I feel like are in this spot where it's like people like them and they're getting included in things, but because there's no solidifying on any aspect in this game, it's like there is no quote unquote real alliance. Like the most real thing is the Pentagon because it's the most solidified, and they have hella cracks in it. So it's just so interesting how so many of these players are in that spot where it's like, I mean, everyone likes you and you're low-key getting included in things, but like, where else are we going from there?
Yeah, and I feel like with Tucker, my main issue, because his position is great, but and he is active sometimes. I just think it's clear that he doesn't necessarily understand the meta of the game because he's not going in the right direction all the time. And I also feel like these dramatic things he tries to do can catch up to him. Like even he kind of like really doesn't like Lisa, and like that's just a really dramatic. It's just a very extreme opinion, and he kind of spreads it around a lot. And then him volunteering to be nom next to her is just super extreme, and I can see him continuing this extremism throughout the game. And it's probably just going to be like, oops, you went home because you were being so extra. Like he probably like, oh, you can nominate me here, it's fine, I'm gonna stay. And then it's like it's just like you do too much, and then you're not clean enough. He's really not clean with his structure right now. He's not in a structure yet, so it's like, that's why I'm feeling iffy. How you feel?
No, I definitely agree, especially with the whole extremism of it all. Like he plays in a way, like I said last week, that's very for himself. Like, you know, for him right now, he wants a deal with Kenney, and he's talking about bringing Kenney into this have-not group because in Tucker's mind, the have-not group is still a thing. Like he really only works on what he believes. That's why when Angela told him about the power, he was like, "That's not what it is. It's this." Yeah, and it's like, who told you that? Because he believed it. He's very much focused on what he believes and what he believes is what's right. And that is going to catch up to him because he's not stopping to think what anyone else thinks, how anyone else is playing, the alliances that they have. He's only worried about what he sees. And like you said, he's really worried about the Lisa thing. So a lot of his strategies revolved around Lisa. The only reason why he wanted to pawn himself is because Lisa was up and he wants to be her in the AI. He wants to be her in the vote. It's like,
he probably gonna lose her in the AI. That's the guy. Lisa could definitely beat. What is Tucker? Tucker ain't won the comp yet.
Lisa is in the AI arena.
Tucker did like the worst in one of those. I remember one of those comps. He did like damn near the worst. I was like, you did so bad.
The initial downgrade comp. He would have been the one with the punishment if Chelsie got the plugger in.
Yeah, she didn't plug it in, and it's like you're not giving amazing comps yourself. So it's like, I don't know, and it does remind me of Zach Rance here and there because Zach Rance was just so performative. It's performativeness. It really is. Like he's being a character, even to the house guests, and it's like,
will say, it feels more genuine than Zach Rance.
It does. It feels like it's actually
real. Like Zach Rance, the entire time, I feel like he was putting on an act. I feel like this is Tucker.
Admitted to.
I think Tucker is really being himself. It's just that like himself is not going to win the game if he acting like this, you know? Because he's not considering what anyone else thinks or what anyone else wants. He's so centered on what he wants to do, and that's going to be a problem because what he's doing isn't the main course of the game. Now, I do like that he's also being considered for this new group because that will actually throw him into some actual game that's happening. But it's like, I don't trust that he'll even be loyal to that because will he think, oh, the have-not Anderson guys alliance is a real thing. So I really just don't know where Tucker's going to go in this game. But I do see him getting out on some collateral damage type shit because he's so focused on only what he's doing. So, I'm going to go with the 5 as well, mainly because he did pawn himself. I know he's not going home. It would be slightly higher if he didn't just pawn himself, but he literally pawned himself. Same. Like, what are you doing?
Also with the him being invited to Alliance thing, I think that's a bad idea. Like I don't like I don't like that. I don't like Tucker as an option. I don't think he seems loyal. And what's weird to me
Yeah.
is that they're in the game with him, and it's like, do you not see the way he acts? He doesn't seem super
Well,
loyal. Like he
oh,
just doesn't
I
seem
meant
like
to
the
say
best.
that. I think no one is paying attention to what he's doing because there's so many people in the house.
And you know what?
No,
That
no
makes
one.
sense.
Because what, like I said, what Tucker is doing is solely based off what's going on in his mind. So he's working off that. Everyone else is worried about everything else.
Yeah,
So
the real stuff
so
happening.
the house is doing this, and he's over here just doing
Doing
this.
him.
They're not
Yeah.
focusing on him. So once more people get evicted, and he's still not aligning with what the fuck is supposed to be happening,
Yep.
that's when he'll get targeted. Because it's like, hold on now, it's
Yeah.
top 10, and you're still being a weirdo. You're supposed to lock in, you know. So I
Yeah.
feel like that is what's going to catch up to him. Once more people go home, he'll be in danger because he's
Yeah.
going to be viewed as a threat. I can see him definitely being viewed as someone that we have to target because he kind of presents himself as that.
Mm-hmm. Next is Joseph. How do you feel about Joseph?
Joseph, I mean, I still don't really like Joseph's position that much. I'm scared on where he's going to go in this game. The only person who seems to be targeting Joseph is Makensy, and Kenney as well. But will they necessarily be able to get him out? I'm not sure. It depends because they keep saying they want to put him up next to Quinn, maybe Kimo. He may be up next to Angela and Kenney, and that would be great. But if he's up next to Quinn and Kimo, he's out. That's it for Joseph. And I think the main problem is we spoke about it in the week 1 recap. He took a huge back seat after Matt and Angela called him out, and he hasn't really done much past that because I think he was kind of scared to do so. Which of course he didn't want to get renominated by fucking Angela cracked ass. But now the game has started to move forward. You know, we have the Girls Alliance, we have the barbershop, we have the Pentagon. We have a lot of different allegiances, the Visionaries now, and he's not in really any of that. He's getting considered for the Visionaries, which I like, but he's not a solidified member, and I think he should be. Like the fact that this whole Kimo Quinn thing is not immediately gravitating towards Joseph, I find as an issue, and I can't tell if that's Joseph's fault or not. Like, because he does have active conversations, but it's mainly with the collective. It's like he always talks about the collective, and the collective is not real. He's still talking about the collective.
The only
so
one who thinks
they
it's real.
know that he trusts them, everyone in that collective group, because he keeps talking about it, but there isn't anything solidified past that. And I do feel like he's someone that could just get out on collateral damage as well. Like I feel like he could just get like Kenney and Makensy could win the HOH, and then bloop, there goes Joseph. You know, I want him to have that number one or that trio or that quartet. Like he has no solidified alliance right now, and it's crazy because he mentioned like he thinks he's one of the best players in the game. He said himself, Quinn, Brooklyn, Chelsie are the best players in the game right now, and I'm like,
maybe them and not you. He's definitely. I feel like he's maybe one of the more smarter ones because he's the only one who's
going based off because he knows what he's thinking in his head. But what the game structure is right now, he's not in a prime position at all, or even close to one. So I think he's smart enough to be able to lock in, like if he gets power or if people start including him more. But he's not included, and I don't know where he's going to kind of fit in to be included at this point. So for him, I'm gonna stick with the 5. But I'm really not liking this position for Joseph, especially because you keep telling me he's gonna win. So I'm trying to see it.
It's definitely still giving winner to me. Like if I had to pick a winner, it's still giving Joseph just because of his position. It's not the greatest, but that's almost better in modern day Big Brother because the people who are in those positions usually you got to get snipped, or we got to shift the game, or we got to reevaluate. So I don't know. That's really the only reason I see it. But also, like I feel like he needs to just talk more game because after he took this back seat, he just stopped talking game a lot. And now he only really does when it's about the collective. If he was more expressive with T-Core and them, then they probably would definitely be inviting him into the lines. Like I said about Tucker, I think that's a bad idea. Leah, I think it's a bad idea. The best person to bring in the Visionaries is Joseph, and they're not considering him. So it's like, that's not good on him either. I think there's still a potential for him to get invited into it, or them realize he needs to be the one who's included, or even him start talking more game because he was talking way more at the beginning. I'm gonna just give him the 5 as well, but it's giving if you keep playing like this, it's gonna have to go down, baby. Okay. Next, we have a motherfucking mother, the legend, the queen, the icon,
Uh,
the winner of Big Brother 26, motherfucking T Core. Period. Say her
my
name
mama.
and don't
T
say it as a
Legend.
target.
T
Okay,
Mother.
T Legend, T Mother,
Mother Core.
Mother Core, Legend
Oh,
Core,
this is my queen.
Cora,
I
whatever.
spoke about T Core earlier in the video, so I'm not gonna say too much, but y'all see it. You know,
Y'all see it.
people try to say on Twitter that maybe she's not doing that much. She's doing a lot, mama. You're not paying attention. And that's the problem. Y'all not seeing her game. They're not seeing her game. But when we see her in 3 months and she's in final fucking two, don't be shocked when she's the winner.
Don't be
Okay.
shocked.
Like I said, I think she's in a really good position. Everyone, all of the different factions in the house right now want her. The alliances that are the closest to solidifying want her in it, or they're protecting her heavily. I think she's set up primely to be somewhere in jury. And I think that the way this house is shifting, she'll be able to keep bouncing around and keep solidifying people's loyalty to where they will not target her. And she can make it all the way to the end. I really see it for T Core. I think her social game is so T. It really is. Like the only person she really doesn't have a connection with is Kenney. And Kenney isn't even mentioning her name as someone to go up necessarily. So I think that she's doing great. I really love a lot of the things that she's doing to help her and her duo. And I love that she really took the iron fist to start solidifying this group. You know, she spoke to T-Core, she spoke to Tucker separately. She spoke to Rubina separately. They've all slightly locked in. They're really just waiting for the HOH. And I know you mentioned with Tucker, you don't trust them bringing him into the group, but she spoke to Tucker about it this morning, and he has not really spilled that as of yet. So I think that she's doing really good for herself, especially in the position that she's in. You know, she had to work really hard in this position because she was underestimated, she was outcasted, and she does not let that stop her. She really does not. She talks to almost everyone in this house actively all day. She's in conversation. She's talking games. She's getting information, and she's being smart about that information. She's not leaking it. She's using it to her advantage, and I love it. Like I think that she has the potential to be a legend in Big Brother, and I'm not just bullshitting. So for me, it's gonna be the 7.
I know that's right. And for me, it's gonna be the 8. This is my
period.
Mama. She's honestly, for me, she's playing the best right now. The way that she is, the issue with all these other people who kind of have options is that they're not constantly talking to people, including Quinn. Quinn's issue, Kimo's issue, it's all the same. It's the situation of you're not actually maintaining these relationships this entire time. T Core makes sure she spends time every single day to maintain relationships with every corner of the house.
Talk about it.
And that's what's going to help her in this game. She now has most of the information in the game, and she's in the most solidified situation upcoming in this next week as well, and she's using that information so smartly. I feel like she takes it in and then she acts accordingly, in the sense of, I'm still going to make sure the 3Cs think I'm cool with them and move forward. The girls still think I'm okay with them. They still want to protect me even though I'm not in the group. But she kind of can get awareness of the group because Rubina told her. She gets awareness of the Pentagon because Quinn told her. So it's like people are giving her information, she's using it correctly, and she's positioned herself so well. Like you said, no one wants to target her except maybe Kenney. She's one of the most protected people in the house. I feel like the only thing that would bring her up to that 9 for me is going to be if they actually solidify this alliance, and then it's over. Like she's played this week particularly so well. Everything she needed to do after being left on the outs last week, she did. She talked to everyone. She made sure she was still good with Makensy and Leah after them not voting with her. She made sure she's still good with the Pentagon, knowing that they left her out of it. She made sure she started working on building this group. She's done the most work with Rubina and the most work with Tucker. So I really, really love it. 10s across the board. Next, we have Leah. Last week I gave Leah a 5. I still think Leah is going to be protected in this game. We saw this week Cam was like, oh, okay, it's not giving Leah, right? Like she's getting protected, and Quinn, I feel like, is clearly going to protect her in the future with his alliance as well. So it's like I think she has protection via those relationships. But when it comes to a structure or an alliance or a group, she doesn't really have it. She's kind of left out in that sense of the game, and she hasn't been that game focused in the way she needs to be. She could be the guaranteed 4th member of this alliance that Quinn already told her about. And because she's so focused on other things, she's not. She's really slipping away and losing it. I'm going to give her the 4.5.
Yeah. I agree with the 4.5. I really, really enjoy Leah so much on a personal level. So I hope that she locks back in. And I feel like because she is such an active social player, even if it's not a lot of game in her social talks, she is an active social player. They feel her presence in this game. And that back to T-Core for a minute. That's another reason why T-Core is so successful. Because she's an archetype where I feel like you could easily say, oh, I don't talk to T-Core. We don't talk at all. I'm going to put her up. She doesn't allow them to do that. She talks to people all the time. But that's also what Leah does as well. Leah talks to people a lot in this game. And I think a lot of people, they still like her. They just feel like she's connected to so many other things. And I was slightly disappointed this week because I felt like she was way more involved in the showmances of it all. Like, this game is actively happening 24/7. And she has had almost no strategic conversations, it seems like, since the beginning. With Quinn and Chelsie. She woke up that first day of Chelsea's HOH, she was so ready to go. She was locking in something with T-Core and Kimo, and she was talking to Quinn, and all of this information, and then she kind of just let it go. She let it slip through her fingers. So I feel like she just has to start locking in. Like, I get it, the experience. You want to be there for the summer camp of it all, but you have to lock in, Leah. You do, because eventually people will stop saying we want Leah. She will just get targeted too, especially if they feel like she's not providing anything for their game. This whole because people are not just pissed at Cam and Leah. Cam, he has outs a little bit because she is associated with Tucker as well. She's starting to become the problem. I think that people are recognizing. And if she's seen as the problem in the situation, she could just go home. So that's why it has to be the 4.5. I think she's losing a lot of grace in this house.
Ashley said some tea. Ashley said T-Core is giving Lisa from BB3. I see that.
Lisa?
I really see that. I really see the social game is the primary thing, but that's exactly what we were saying about Lisa. There's players like Jason O'Shea who just have a natural good social game. And then there's players who are actively social on purpose in order to make it far in the game. And that's how Lisa won. And we haven't seen many winners like that because they're not usually active. They're kind of just naturally liked.
Or we get seasons that are overpowered with these competitions and these alliances. We are in this new era. We're able to see different type of archetypes play this game successfully. And that's what I love the most about the new era. We've been able to see all different types of player do well in this game. I think randomly back to Brittany in BB24. Who would have thought Brittany Hoop's ass would have been in top motherfucking 4 that season, winning veto at top 5 and stressing me the fuck out. Doing really, yeah. I really enjoy that different archetypes of people are able to play this game. Felicia being in top 5, you know what I mean? Like, that was just great to see. So I'm happy that we're able to really see anyone be able to do well in this show.
Yeah, and these new era seasons are giving like the throwback energy of the older seasons with, like you said, anybody kind of has a chance. It's a lot more shifting. And actually, check out our BB Rewind coverage because we have done Big Brother 3 coverage. We just got done talking about Lisa's entire game. We've talked about BB2 in the entirety. And after this season, we're going to be covering Big Brother 4. So definitely get into our series where we go back and rewatch old Big Brother seasons because it really brings a perspective to like gameplay that I feel like really can be reflected in these newer seasons as well. It's so tea for real. Okay, next we have Quinn. Lee, you go first because I don't know.
So yeah, with Quinn, it's hard. It's hard because a lot of the positives, he's cool with everyone. Everyone loves Quinn, and like that is not an exaggeration. No one is really talking about necessarily targeting him. Angela was leaking this power, and no one even really believed her. So I feel like he still has a lot of wiggle room in this game. I feel like we were saying earlier in the podcast, his biggest issue is this power. But at this point, even if he does use it, it's going to be like, oh, well, Angela was telling the truth. Like, I don't think there's any way he is able to use this power and take out someone that he wants to take out, and he doesn't get blamed for it. And that is going to be his biggest issue. And I don't think he has any way to rectify that. I think that we see players like this a lot of times in Big Brother history where they have so many connections and they never really choose a side. And when they win an HOH, it all comes crashing down. Or when the house starts solidifying more, it all comes crashing down. Like, there's a chance that he can get clocked as this person playing all sides. But what he is doing a good job at, and what he said preseason, was connecting with people who he feels like are emotional players slightly. So they will have loyalty to him. I don't think Tikor and Kimo are emotional players per se, but they do connect to him on an emotional level, which is why this alliance is being created. I think he thought he could do that with Leah. They're kind of doing that with Rubina now. And these are people who I think will be loyal to Quinn. So he does have this power base if they solidify it. But he still has so many other people that he's kind of playing this game with. And it's like, at some point, you have to turn on them. You have to be the vote that send them home. You have to be the HOH player that sends them home. You have to be the veto winner that doesn't use veto on them, you know? And I feel like Quinn is the type of player that's going to continue to play in all of these people's faces. And that is going to be an issue at some point, because either with this power or just later in his end game, he's going to have to start pissing people off. And how is Quinn going to handle pissing people off? How is Quinn going to handle being a target? You know, I don't know. But for right now, I think he's in a great position. Everyone likes him. He can go anywhere in this game, literally anywhere in this game. And there are some pending issues coming, but for now, I think he's really set up well. Everyone likes him, so I'm gonna give him the 7 as well.
Yeah, I agree. Like, he is set up super, super well right now. Everyone really likes him except Angela, I guess, but she's irrelevant. So I feel like she is. So I feel like his positioning is really, really great. And a lot of people just want to work with him still to this day. I feel like you kind of got into the issue with, not the issue, but the thing with players who are super active is that you can kind of see their games a little bit more. And with Quinn's game, we see so much. We see his faults kind of all up in our face. He's moving too fast. He's telling way too much information. Angela's ready to expose him. He's giving Tikor and Kimo stuff. So it's like so much information that we got from Quinn's game is giving me insight of his eventual potential, failure in this game. I do feel like with the end game, yes, he's aligning with Tikor and Kimo, who I think will be loyal, but these are some of the smarter players in the house. So I really hate to say it. I feel like he would have been a little bit better off with like a Pentagon, not the Pentagon, but with a structure that has like an Alpha Bro who's not that smart or something like that, because I kind of feel like Tikor and Kimo are too smart, and he's definitely not making the end game dealing with them. If he gets to the end and Tikor and Kimo are still there, they're taking his ass out. I feel like even the structure he's kind of building, it's like, that's the structure where they're going to take your ass out, and Rubina will probably choose them over you too. So it's like, I feel like he's in such a good position currently, but we know so much about his game that we can see all of the potential future issues. So it's very difficult to kind of judge, because it's like, you could get caught up in a few weeks if people find out about Angela and this power, and you could get caught up later in the game. And it's like, or you could not get caught up, but it's just like, you're the biggest threat. I think his threat level might be too easily seen eventually in the game because of how, in the way he's so active. Like, I think eventually people are going to know we can't beat Quinn, or Quinn is in too good of a position, especially smart players like Tikor or even Kimo. It's like, I think he's just going to get caught. But at this moment, super great position. He's done a lot of active work. He's done the shifting. My other issue is like, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the shifting. I've talked about his position in both alliances. I'm like, I don't even know. Like, he shifted, but did he need to? And was this the good way? And did you shift correctly? And you're in alliance with people who are closer than each other than to you. So that's another issue. But I'm gonna just give him his guts while I can, because I could see it falling down.
Yeah, it's coming. It's gonna come crashing down.
So I'm gonna give him his 7 right now. Next, we have Brooklyn, which is another interesting one. Similar to Rubina, Kimo, and Tikor. The issue with her is the same as Rubina and Kimo, I feel, versus Tikor. Well, Rubina does a good job too, but Tikor specifically, always making sure she's having game conversations and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Brooklyn does that, but what I've noticed with Brooklyn is she's kind of more calmer with, like, it doesn't seem super intentional. I think it is intentional, but it's just not.
It definitely is.
It's not as active as Tikor. Tikor is damn near always talking to someone new. Brooklyn will here and there talk to Makensy and MJ, give it a few hours later on. So I think she's still in a great position. But one thing I noticed about Brooklyn is every camera talk one of the smart players have, they mention Brooklyn is eating it up. Quinn mentioned it. Joseph mentions it. So I think Chelsie knows it. She hasn't really said it, but it's like, I think people can tell that Brooklyn is in such a good position. While when you have Tikor or Rubina, people can't tell. Right. And even Kimo,
they underestimate them. They're not going to underestimate Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn is someone who is like, she gotta go. So I feel like that's my thing with her. She's not necessarily in a solidified group. And Quinn told her he felt like they were at the bottom of this Pentagon group. And I feel like she didn't do enough with that, because her and Quinn she should be automatic in this new alliance with Quinn. She should have been automatically included because they had this bond because they were on the bottom. And I feel like she didn't do enough with bonding with him when he brought that to her. And I feel like that might be her thing. She spreads herself out, but when it comes to one particular person or finding a number one, it's like, where are they? And I feel like Quinn would have been a good idea because she would have been in this new alliance. Even if you really did get closer to Chelsie, that would be really good, because now it's like y'all are a package deal. I think she's doing it, but with too many people to where it's like she doesn't have a locked in one, and that could leave her vulnerable in the end game. Not right now, but in the end game, it could leave her like, well, we're all duos and you're alone. I remember that happened with like Jessica Milagros and Big Brother 21 and BB18 when it was 3 duos. That third person, who I forgot what it was, they got sent home. So it's like, it was Michelle. It happened with Michelle. It happened with Jessica Milagros. I see a path like that with Brooklyn, where it's like, it's a bunch of duos and you're like a trio, or you're like the third. And it's like, well, you're the easiest one to take out because no one's going to be mad. So I need her to shift that. But at this moment, still really good. My only issue is she's not the primary ask for these new structures that are being formed, and she should know there are new structures being formed because she's been told that this man don't give a fuck about the Pentagon. So that's why I'm like, let me keep it at the 6, and we're gonna move forward from there.
Yeah, like her, similar to a lot of people in this season, a lot of people like her, and her name is not being brought up as a target. But like you said, since her name is getting brought up in this way of like she's playing the best, that makes me feel like she's gonna get a threat level at some point. And if she gets a threat level, will she be able to manage it? I don't really know, because she doesn't have that solidified group. The fact that she isn't even being considered for the Visionary is a problem. But I remember I said last week, she does a lot of her talking with the Matt and Makensy side of things and not the collective side of things. Now, in this week, she's not anti-Makensy and Leah, but she doesn't want to go to the end with Makensy and Leah. But it's like her loyalty is mainly to the Pentagon, and that's who she creates her main relationships with. Everyone else kind of just throw away, because she doesn't have that many conversations with T-Core, not with Kimo, not even with Quinn, not with Joseph. She doesn't talk to any of them really that much. She spends a lot of time with Rubina, Leah, Chelsie, Makensy. She spreads herself out, and it's good because I think she is opening herself up as someone who can get pulled in, but no one is even really talking about her as that person like, oh, we can get Brooklyn, like there's a chance she could be in this new group, but I also can see it not happening because no one really knows where her loyalty lies. I agree with you. I feel like it's not something that is happening too soon, but I feel like Brooklyn has a lot of wiggle room still. So for her, I'm gonna go with the 6.5.
I fucked with that. Next we have Cedric. Oh, my man. Lee, thoughts?
Cedric, the main thing I noticed with Cedric this week is that he's definitely going to be someone that is open about his allegiances, and not like verbally, but just in actions. Chelsie was the HOH, and he was upstairs all damn week, damn near. And it's like, well, of course y'all are a duo. I can definitely see that being clocked at some point, that clearly Cedric and Chelsie have a really good relationship. I feel like now that he has the Pentagon solidified, he isn't really as active in trying to kind of solidify his safety anymore within the group. Him and Cam, I think, kind of took a big back seat in that this week, maybe because they felt safe, but it's like you never get that comfortable. You always need to be solidifying your relationships and making deals and bonds, because at this point, the most allegiances they have is with this barbershop group, but the barbershop isn't real. The people who are going to be in the game the longest are the Visionaries, and Cedric does not have the best relationships within that group at all. I don't think that he's anywhere close to an immediate target, but he's also someone who's not spreading himself out enough, really. I like that he's opening up and trying to make this final two with Quinn, but I don't even think Quinn is going to be someone that's going to stay loyal to that. And he's not really, bonding with anyone else on the level that I think is going to really connect him to this Visionary group. Like, I would like him to have a relationship with someone deeply, or a few people within that, and he's not really. So I don't know. Especially as a player too, this week he started to remind me of Jared a lot, where it's like, you're just saying words, aren't you? Especially because I think Chelsea's a really good player. So when she's talking game, she's speaking about, ideas and theories and alliances. And Cedric, a lot of his reaction is, oh, I don't know. or well, maybe you could just do this, and it's like the most basic thing ever. Or I mean, really, you just gotta talk to her, you know? And it's like, okay, thanks a lot, Cedric. He's someone else in this game where I feel like he's not gonna get touched that soon. Like I said earlier in the podcast, the main targets are at the bottom. Angela down, or everyone that's getting touched within these next few weeks. And he's no longer a target for Quinn's potential power because it's now Cam, and it may not even get used now. So I think that's really good for him. It's just, I don't know where Cedric ends up anymore. The Pentagon is not gonna be the Real Alliance anymore. The 3 C's is not as strong as I thought it would be. So I don't really know where his end game goes. So I'm gonna bring him down to a 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a 5.
Oh, girl, that's your man.
I gave him the lowest score last week.
You did.
I'm gonna give him a 5. I just feel like a lot of what you said, I do like that. I feel like he is just an active person. So even this week where he took a backseat, he made a whole final 2. So it's like his backseat is making final 2s, which I do like. I feel like being active can help because like we know Quinn was really the only person who didn't fuck with him. And Quinn shifted that target to Cam because Cam got caught up in more stuff. And then with Cedric making this final 2, it's like Quinn could still try to come after Cedric, but in a way we'll kind of be done because Cedric's probably telling the truth. Like you said, Cedric's kind of obvious with his loyalties. Like in a way, it wouldn't even necessarily be smart for Quinn to take out Cedric. He should take out Cam first and Chelsie next. So, and I think Cedric helping by making a final 2, it can make Quinn feel more comfortable. And that was the one person who wasn't fucking with him, and he didn't even know that. So I like those little things, but like you said, it's like you can tell he doesn't know the game. He's not talking game in a way where it's like he clearly doesn't have enough knowledge about how to strategize. I feel like past get in a group and move forward, and that's gonna fuck him up, especially in this season where it's like, baby, the group where like you gotta be malleable, you gotta shift, you gotta do a lot. I think another thing is it's like he was about solidifying the Pentagon, which I really like. A part of me feels like he should have probably tried to go for HOH a little bit more to try to re-solidify, to collect something, to make something more solid. I feel like having HOH does help Chelsie sometimes because she can talk to more people. More people are giving her information. Who knows, if he was HOH, maybe Makensy would have told him about her power first. It's like there's a lot of different things that it's like if you had real power, it would help you, and you're losing that power because the Pentagon
he doesn't even want to win.
He doesn't even want to win, and I never really liked that. So, like you said, I don't think he's going to be a target soon because there's so many other ones. But longevity in the game, it's really slipping for all of him and Cam, which I'll get into now. Oh, and he very last minute sort of volunteered as a pawn. Stupid as fuck. Leave that at the door. I hate that. You getting a 5. Cam.
Bad week for Cam.
Kimo was the biggest drop. Cam biggest gain. Cam is biggest drop because this man has been so focused on Leah, and she don't even want him like that. She's more looking at Tucker. It's all a lie. None of it's true. And I really don't like that for him. He's so concerned about the showmans. And he did say preseason he really wanted the showmans.
He did. Like, and that was my biggest fear. So I was so happy because I thought, oh, it's not going to be one. It's not going to be one. He's going to be good. But look at him.
I hate to say it. It reminds me, like, you could tell how good of a player he could have been despite a showman's, because last week he played so
it's still
good.
not even a showman's for real. So
it's not even a showman's. He just has a crush on this
as
girl.
to what this is going to turn into. Like maybe it will turn into one just because there's so much talk and both of them are so flirty. But this is not a real showman's yet. Even if people are literally talking about them as if they are, and this is not a real showman. So it's such a weird situation that he's even so caught up in all of this because it's not even real.
Yeah, so much energy going into something like you said. It's not even real, and your entire perception of the game is now tied to being a showman's with Leah, and you're not even getting the girl, baby. You're not even getting the pussy like that. So it's like it's really a no for me. It's very terrible. I hate to say it, but I remember in BB23, Xavier really wanted a showman's too, and I kind of feel like we're kind of seeing.
Well, no, he said the same thing. Well, no. Xavier's whole thing was I don't want a showman's.
Right, which was a lie. So we saw in reality that Xavier really wanted a showman's, and in reality, I feel like we're seeing with Cam what we could have gotten if Xavier did get in a showman's. I think he would have got distracted, and I see with Cam, when Cam wasn't in a showman's, super focused, super good game player, but with the showman's, it really brings him down. And we see periodically, I feel players where it's like if they were solo, they could be super good players, but if they have a showmance, they would be super bad play. Like they would really flame out, they would crash out. And I feel like I get that energy from players like similar to his archetype, like Monty. If Monty really had a showmance, I feel like he could have got a little distracted. If Xavier had a showmance, I feel like he could have got a little distracted. And I feel like with Cam, you just see it right in your face because it's like you did so good and now you're so bad. So yeah, none of it's true. I hate all of it. He's a 3 this week. I feel like what's good is he might not get targeted super soon, especially now that Quinn maybe can't use his power. Quinn's gonna be too pussy to put him up outright. So it's gonna be a 3 for me. His allies not even fucking with him no more. Chelsea's like kind of good on that. Cedric's been talking about it. A lot of the house feel like they a threat. It might be to the point where it's like, okay, all these other people gone out. Now we're only putting 2 noms, Leah and Cam. Y'all are quotations to showmans, and y'all not even a showmans. So yeah, it's a no for me. How you feeling?
Yeah, it's very possible that he could go pre-jury. A few people have talked about his name in that way, and the showman's rumors are just not helping. He's also just not an active player like that. He was really active in this first week in trying to build an alliance. Not too much socially, because he's never been that most active socially, but he was active in trying to build a group. So he was talking to more people. Now that the group is kind of solidified with the Pentagon, he seems to have been reserved a lot more, and I think it's because he felt safe again. Same as Cedric, he felt safe, so he didn't do that much. But what he did do was get caught up into all of this Leah mess, and it's really making him a target. Like if Quinn does still have use the power, it's probably going to be to take Cam out. If Cam is on the block, Cam is going home. At this point, at any point, I think if Cam is the final nominee, Cam will go home, and it's because he is not stretching himself out amongst the house when it comes to relationships, and he's not solidifying any other group around himself. Like he, similar to Cedric, doesn't have a strong connection with most of the people in this new Visionaries group, and I think the Visionaries are going to be the people here for a while. But even as far as like Makensy, he doesn't have a relationship with Makensy. He doesn't have a relationship with Rubina. I don't see him talk to Tucker. He didn't
talk to nobody but Leah this week. He only talked to Leah this week.
Leah and Chelsie. When Chelsie
sometimes, and Chelsie don't even fuck with that.
So it's just like he's really losing a lot of the connections he has, and it's going to be easy to target him because he's already visually a threat. Now with the showmance, that makes it even scarier to a lot of people in the game. So I just feel like he really needs to lock in, but I figure he won't be able to because he's not a fan. He doesn't know how this game works. He doesn't know how to really play it. And I thought he was going to be someone that could really pick it up, but it seems like he's wildly unaware of how this game's work. Like this week really showed me like, oh, he is not going to be one of those players. I thought that he was someone who could really pick it up because I don't think Monty was necessarily a huge fan. And Monty seemed to really understand it by the end. I don't feel like Cam would have that. Maybe if Leah goes, maybe if he loses,
I think if he could stay longer, maybe. But
like my big issue is that he still volunteered to be a pawn this week. It's like if you volunteered to be a pawn, it's like, oh my god, like because Monty Xavier wouldn't have done none of that. You know what I mean? Like a good player wouldn't have even considered going on the block, especially if it's your ally saying it. You know what I mean? Like I remember being so scared for Chelsie when she thought about this because I'm thinking, oh, Cam and Cedric are definitely going to turn on her. No smart player would want to work with someone that's offering them up as a pawn. But they didn't care. He doesn't care. He's not mad at Chelsie. He does not care at all. He's just there. He really is just there. And because it's so much focus on Leah instead of the game, I'm gonna have to go with the 4.
Yeah, V said Cam lower than Leah is crazy. My reasoning for that is that Cam's allies aren't protecting him. They're making him.
If it's Cam versus Leah on the block, Cam is going home.
Yeah, Cam is going home, and it's because Cam's allies aren't protecting him. They're bashing him. Chelsie is making his game worse, and that's one of his closest allies. Truly,
right.
Cedric isn't helping.
Leah ain't volunteered to be a pawn.
Leah didn't volunteer to be a pawn, and Leah has
laugh. Leah said, "Live, laugh, love you so much, but I cannot be a pawn." Cam, after 2 asks, was like, "Well, I guess I could be a pawn."
Yeah, so it's just honestly she's more protected than him. She truly is. He doesn't really have allies riding for him the way he. I think that's another reason of his issue. I think he thought he was locked in more with this core in the sense that they probably would never slander his name or even da 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 da. But it's like you thought wrong because
that's why I don't understand what Cam and Cedric are doing. The core isn't enough. Even if the Pentagon was loyal, even the 3 Cs were loyal, that's not enough. There's
and I think they really in this house. They're not fans.
There's 50 people in this house. They locked in one alliance, and it seems like they just forgot everything else. And it's like, girl, there's other shit happening.
It's giving very much so BB16. Oh, we just need the big alliance and move forward. And it's like, ooh.
It's not even big. That's why I don't get it. It's not even a big alliance. It's 5 people. The
Yeah.
collective isn't real. The barbershop isn't real. I guess their idea is, well, we're just going to play both of those
Yeah,
5, but you're
that's
not
what I
even
was gonna
playing
say.
both of them anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. I don't get the logic.
They don't know the game. I really just think that's what it is. They
That's
don't
what it is.
actually know the game
That's what
neither
it
of
is.
them. Now we have Chelsie. What are your thoughts on
Nobody knows the
Chelsie?
game. Now, Chelsie, I don't think this is a bad HOH week for her. I mean, 3 out of the 4 nominations volunteered, damn near. So, leaving the week, she hasn't making too many enemies. Angela is talking about putting her up. Angela says she would nominate, I believe, Chelsie, Tucker, and Rubina.
And then
When one of them pulls themselves off, she would renom Quinn to expose his power. But that's not how Quinn power even works, so that wouldn't work. But that's what she says she want to do. And it's like, girl, Angela being your biggest threat. And I don't even think if Chelsie get nominated, she would go home. What I really like about Chelsie this week is that she flipped on Cam in this way, because, like I said earlier, she is distancing herself from him, and that is really going to lower her threat level, because the 3 C's being a group is way much of a threat than it just being Cedric and Chelsie, because people don't even think Cedric is that smart. There's no shade. And what I like about Chelsie is that she's really stretching herself out. Because she was the HOH, it matters that she has a relationship with these people, because they know that she kept them safe. She is in the girls group. She still has the Pentagon. There is a fake collective thing that Joseph still believes, and she has connections with all of those people in it. She really used this HOH, I feel like, to individually connect with people. The main negative is that she did not create a majority alliance. She basically caused cracks in the only solidified alliance in the house, and then move forward from that. I don't think it's a major issue, because, like I said, her being attached to Cam is more of a bigger issue than not. It's just, I hope that she realizes what's happening. And I think she kind of does. Like, when she was speaking to MJ and Leah, she mentioned that Quinn, T-Core, and Kimo is a group. So she recognizes the allegiances, but what is she going to do to rectify that? How is she going to handle it if they start targeting her? But I think her strong suit is her social connections, because I feel like even if the Visionaries get formed, she has a relationship with T-Core. She has a relationship with Kimo. Quinn likes her. Brooklyn likes her a lot. Like, she just has a lot of good relationships throughout the house. And I feel like winning this early HOH has helped her be able to solidify with people that they can trust her. They can actually work with her. It doesn't seem like anyone wants her out of this game, even though she is a major player in the game. And people have even mentioned that, but they don't see her as a target as of yet. So I feel like with her, I'm going to give her the 7 as well. I think I would have kept it higher. I would have went higher or kept it to 7.5 if she really solidified something this week and centered herself in the middle of it. But the type of player she is, the house is a mess, and she's still in the center of the mess. You know what I mean? It's not a solidified group, but she's still in the center of a very chaotic house. And I feel like that's going to be good for her, because if it keeps shifting, she's going to be one of those people who I feel like is going to have an ally on every side of the game.
Yeah, I agree. That's my favorite part of this week, is like the fact that she has this connection with Leah and MJ that's so strong, and then she is like, I feel like of the people who kind of are playing a lot of different sides, she's one of the ones who actually have strong connections with all of the different sides. I feel like the people in the Visionaries will actually want to protect her. Like we said, they were considering to bring her in, and then on the Leah and MJ side, they're actually going to protect Chelsie. I don't know about these other people, so it's like, I really love that part of it, and I like that she is separated from Cam and the trio now. My issue with that is, like, I feel like what she did was the core that she could have been at the center of, or any structure she could have been at the center of, she didn't create. Like you said, she didn't create a majority alliance. And in fact, like, the one that she was the closely centered on, it's now not existent. And if there is a new group made, she will at most be on the bottom of it. So it's like, I like the separation on one end, and on the other end, I don't like how not in the core she is. But for this season, like you said, it's such a shifty season that it's like, that might not be a necessary thing this season. We see in most seasons it's very necessary. Even in the new era, it is still something that's really good for your game to be in the core of the alliance. But this season is so shifty. Now, I still feel like that's the reason that I don't feel super strong anymore, because thinking of the potential of next week is a potential for there to be a majority alliance formed and her not in it. And it's like, ooh, that's not good. So I'm gonna give her the 6.5.
But that's the thing. If that majority alliance gets formed, like, two of the major members, Takor and Kimo, love Chelsie. I feel like even if Kimo see that as their end game, Chelsie is going to always be an add-on that they will want to have on their
I
side.
agree.
And I feel like she's going to set herself up to be that add-on, and she's kind of done that with every faction of the game. So instead of solidifying a group around her, she's solidified with every faction that's in the house right now. And I really like that. She seems socially aware of where everyone stands, and she seems self-aware of her own position. The only thing I just didn't really like was the not alliance building, and then also worrying about the Cam and Leah thing, because way bigger fish to fry.
So here we are, y'all. Let's put them in order or whatever. This is a huge shift, and like, look at this. And what I will say is another reason I feel like this season is so good is because of how I feel like the people at the top of the power is going to shift each week. I can see next week it being a whole totally different set of people at the top. But what we have is, of course, Kenney and Angela and Lisa and Makensy at the bottom, because they are at the bottom. Then we have Cam and Leah, they're right above them. We have Tucker and Joseph at 5, Cedric at a 5.5, and then Rubina and Brooklyn up there at the top. And then the top 4 is Kimo with a 6.75, Chelsie with the same score, and then Quinn and T-Core are number 1, number 2, and number 1. Of course, my mama T-Core is at the top. Thank you.
My queen core.
That's my
T-Queen, T-Mother.
T-Mother at the top, period. So this is pretty, I feel like this is pretty accurate based on what happened this week. Chelsea's still at the top because her connections are still really good. And then, of course, the core of the visionaries are now kind of the bigger players, and they're at the top of the group as well. This will be very interesting to see how it shifts.
It's going to keep moving. It is. Like I said, every week is going to depend on who has the HOH. It really is.
Yeah, I think so too.
I need honestly, people keep saying T-Core gonna win the tiny veto. They need to make that an HOH again, because I want my girl to win an HOH.
I think a lot of people can win HOHs. Like I said, I think this season's gonna have a bunch of different. It already has 7 different comp winners. I think it's just gonna keep going. We're gonna get a bunch of different comp winners. So the thing to look out for, y'all, is
Marjorie said y'all missed it by T-Core. I love her though. That's because she's that good. We're missing us by her good gameplay.
And she's on the inside. That's crazy. but honestly, like, I really just feel like all of these people could shift. Every position could shift. This isn't set in stone. We don't know. Next week, Joseph could wake up and be like, I want to work with Cam, Chelsie, and Makensy. Like, it could be anything. So I really feel like the thing to look out for is who wins HOH. If one of the visionaries win, it's very likely that will lock in. If one of them don't win, it's very likely it's going to be another shift in a whole totally different power. So either way, it could be another shift. So I definitely just think we just don't have to wait on it. These scores more than any other season is giving particular to this week, because we don't know.
Very much so. Also, though, the people who are at the top are the people who are in the middle. Like, with this house being so shifty, the people who are at the top are the people who are centered kind of in the middle of the game. They have a lot of different avenues they could go down as far as loyalty. So whoever wins, they're safe. I feel like that's the entire top 5, damn near.
Yep, I agree. Really, top 6, even Rubina.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Hayden says, "Do you see a split house happening? Not this season.
No.
I feel like
we could have got it. This collective versus barbershop thing that is kind of there, but also kind of not real, because everyone is playing each other. Everyone is a floater to some extent in this season. No one has a solidified allegiance at all. Like, even if the visionaries get solidified, I don't think any of them are going to only work within each other. They're going to have other relationships
outside of that. 100%. And also there's too many house targets. There's too many people who everyone doesn't like, so it's going to prevent a split, because we all agree we don't like Lisa, we agree we don't like Angela, we agree we don't like Kenney, we agree Makensy can go. It's just too many agreeing. It's too many.
That's where it's going to get interesting, because at some point we all ain't going to agree no more.
And that's going to be very immediately after that.
We need Lisa, Makensy, Kenney, and Angela all out ASAP. For real, they need to go out back to back, and let's get to the real game, because that's when the real game gonna start.
And I feel like throughout all that, it's gonna be so much shifting. Like, what everyone is trying to do is figure out what we're gonna do after these scrubs go home, and I feel like that's gonna continue to keep happening. So I would definitely say just look out for what's going on with who's the HOH next week, and we're gonna be giving y'all occasionally recaps, and then we're also gonna be giving y'all, of course, another live feed update next week for the week on Tuesday. We do the player ratings again. And then this Thursday, we're going to be doing our eviction breakdown for whoever gets evicted. And boom, make sure y'all get into our other stuff. We are covering Claim to Fame, and the challenge is coming up soon, and we will be covering that as well. So definitely get into our other coverage. And thank you for keeping it real with the Kingdom Girls. We're out.